Right now at 5, Carl Junction announces plans to fill the mayor's position after last week's impeachment.
And while most of our Wednesday is looking good, strong to potentially severe thunderstorms on the way this evening. We'll have the latest coming up.
Plus, the SEK Humane Society pauses all new animal intakes as they face the risk of closing by year's end.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It is Wednesday, September the 3rd. I do like, when the first of the month falls on like a Sunday or a Monday.
Oh, yeah,
for my poor mind, it's a lot easier to remember. I don't have to cheat off your little sheet there.
Wednesday definitely gives the 3rd energy.
It really does. It really does. Yeah, we do find a way where every month starts the same way. Monday's the 1st or Sunday's the 1st, something like that. Because you're right.
Yeah.
But we do have, we've got a really nice Wednesday ahead of us for the majority of the day. It's going to be warmer than where we were yesterday, but then we have those storm chances, and there have been some changes, and I guarantee you between now and our noon news, there will be a lot more changes as well. Let's start though with our live look outside downtown Pittsburgh, and looking pretty good so far this morning. We got just a few clouds out there. Not a bad way to start the day. Of course, we had some of those isolated showers and storms yesterday. MoDOT Camera 20th and Rangeline also looking good this morning, but we're now on day 1. This is the day of. Unfortunately, that isolated tornado risk has returned. By noon, it disappeared. If you weren't with us at noon, if you were working or whatever the case may be, it had gone away in the latest update. But as of this morning, it has come back, so it is there. Not many changes to the hail and wind risk. So the hail still have those hash marks for very large hails. We're talking 2 inches in diameter or greater possible in our far northern counties. And then we have that level 2 out of 5 risk as well for damaging wind gusts 60 miles an hour or greater. Really, the biggest change so far is simply everything's been backed a little further north. Yesterday, these lower end risks, the isolated risks, went down almost to McDonald County and parts of Berry County. It's been retreated back north. There's been some changes in that, and there could still be some additional changes between again here and when we see you again at noon. There could be changes this morning. Again, most of today, not bad. Mostly clear to partly cloudy skies as we head through the afternoon. But after we get past about 7 o'clock or so, that's when we start to see showers and thunderstorms. But take a look, not nearly as impressive as what we saw before. But we still have that severe threat, and there could still, again, be some changes to this. So we're going to see exactly how this plays out. We got 63 in Joplin and in Pittsburgh right now, and around the region, temperatures are not too bad. We've got low to mid-60s across the region. A little cooler Fort Scott and Parsons both sitting at 60 this morning. Kids getting on the bus right about 61. Upper 70s by noon lunchtime, and about the low 80s by the time they head home. Our highs today eventually low to mid-80s. Will be near 70 by 9, upper 70s by noon. And then again, we'll get into the low to mid 80s as we head into the afternoon, because I did not change. Every day there's something I forget. I did not change those temperatures. But the winds out of the west at 5 to 10. When we see you again, we're going to break down in detail what we're looking at with the thunderstorm chances, some of the variations in data, and why we might see some changes to that forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. So 1 week after the Carl Junction City Council votes to impeach its mayor, the city leaders convene with an empty seat. It was back to business last night in Carl Junction. The city council met for the first time since impeaching former mayor Mike Moss last week. The council carried on with routine city business, but the impeachment still weighed heavy, with residents voicing their concerns. The council announced a special session to take nominations to fill the mayor's position until the April election. That session is scheduled in 2 weeks on September 16th at 6:30 p.m. A police chase in Joplin ends with a crash and an arrest. The incident began just before noon yesterday near 7th and Connor Avenue when officers went to perform a traffic stop on a pickup. The driver sped down 7th Street, but the short chase ended on Schifferdecker Avenue when the pickup slammed into another vehicle. The driver of the other vehicle suffered minor injuries. When officers arrested the driver of the pickup on suspicion of DWI, they discovered the pickup was stolen yesterday from a Joplin home. Authorities have not released the name of the driver at this time. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. It's also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. You can watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. The SEK Humane Society is pausing all new animal intakes as they say they are at risk of closing their doors at the end of the year. The nonprofit says this could happen without new financial support as donations and grants have dropped to unsustainable levels, even as the cost of operating continues to rise. Staff say the pause in intakes is necessary as they're already at maximum capacity. Yesterday, the Humane Society asked the Crawford County Commission for $30,000 a month to allow the shelter to remain open.
It's not just about the animals, and that's what I'm here to present to you guys today. This is about public safety, public health, and protecting our county's future, because we're talking about a big, big problem here.
The SEK Humane Society says community support is more important now than ever before, whether it be through donations, adoptions, or volunteering. We have more on how you can help on our website. That's KOAMNewsNow.com. Well, there's something new heating up the excitement for Joplin residents, a fresh trail. The Tin Cup Trail is officially open, stretching 1.5 miles. It links the St. John's Trail to Mackendale Park and the Shoal Creek area. KOAM's Lonnie Walton caught up with city officials who say they're thrilled to see this long-anticipated project come to life.
Length too, it's a 1/2 mile or 1.5 miles that way, and then if we walk it back, it's a good 3-mile loop.
Emily Gilbert is a Joplin resident. She's excited about the new trail called the Tin Cup Trail.
It's very well kept. It's close to our house. We just live right down the road, and we like that it's paved so we can bring our dog.
Oh, there's already a few trails around here already, but with there being another one, it adds a little more choice to Joplin.
And lots of trails are what some may believe, but Dan Johnson, who's the director of public works for the city of Joplin, says it's not a bad thing.
All of these trails, we look at tying things together. We look at points of interest. Of course, Cunningham Park, Mercy Park.
I love the new trail. It's great walking and good looks.
Johnson says these trails start at 32nd and McIntosh and travels to McDowell Park. And not only that, there will soon be a 120-foot bridge on the way. Johnson says it's going to be monumental.
Be a beautiful bridge, suspension bridge, the only one in the area, and I think that it will be become a bit of a landmark.
Johnson says he listened to the people before the trail was created. One thing they wanted was space.
New trail, it's 12 feet wide. It will have a stripe down the middle, and I think that just adds to the quality of the trail, the safety for people using it.
More trails open gives us more options, just more opportunity to walk.
And if you haven't worked out that Labor Day meal yet, now's the time to do it. Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Johnson says the bridge is on hold as the materials needed to build it are currently delayed. He hopes to have it completed in early spring next year. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, President Trump posts video showing the U.S. military taking out a drug-filled boat from Venezuela. Plus, new research shows a father's childhood exposure to smoking could impact his future children. And we're tracking thunderstorms for tonight. Chris takes a look at your forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Time now, 5:08. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch, a new step in the Trump administration's effort to combat drug trafficking. Yesterday, the president said 11 narco-terrorists were killed in a U.S. military strike on a boat in the Caribbean. According to President Trump, the boat was carrying illegal drugs destined for the U.S. All of this as the Navy is increasing its presence in the region. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
Video posted by President Trump on social media shows the moment he says the U.S. military took out a boat headed from Venezuela to the U.S. filled with drugs.
We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And these came out of Venezuela.
The strike in international waters on a boat the administration says had members of designated terror group TDA, or Tren de Agua.
As long as those vessels are in the region and as long as the president's in the White House, he's made very clear he's not going to allow the United States to continue to be flooded with cocaine and fentanyl.
The move comes after the Trump administration recently doubled the bounty to $50 million for information leading to the arrest of Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, alleging he had ties to drug trafficking, which he denies. In recent weeks, the Pentagon has been surging battleships toward the coast of Venezuela, including 2 destroyers, a guided missile cruiser, and the Iwo Jima, carrying more than 2,500 Marines, the ship specifically designed to move large numbers of forces onshore if needed. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, when asked if the U.S. plans to act against Maduro on Venezuelan soil.
I'm not going to speculate about what might come down the road.
The Trump administration has not called for formal military intervention in Venezuela, but Maduro's government has urged civilians to join militias in case of external attacks. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Yesterday, Venezuela's communications minister suggested without evidence the video President Trump posted on the U.S. military strike was AI generated. At the beginning of his second term, President Trump signed an executive order directing the State Department to designate cartels and transnational gangs as foreign terrorist organizations. Well, still to come, new statistics reveal alarming racial disparities in a common cancer affecting men. Plus, we're tracking rain chances. Chris takes another look at your Wednesday forecast. Well, from the pages of Vogue to Paris runways and the big screen in Venice, Nick Zacevic has your eye on entertainment.
Thank you, Mark. Director Sofia Coppola arrived at the Venice Film Festival ahead of the premiere of her first ever documentary, Marked by Sofia, a portrait of her longtime friend, designer Marc Jacobs. The two hit the red carpet and took questions at a press conference, Coppola admitting she was hesitant to take on the project at first.
And when they asked me to do a film on Mark, I thought, no, I can't do that. It's too much pressure. It would have to be good because he's my friend and I love him. And then I kept thinking about, it would be so fun to look through all the archives and revisit.
The end of an era. After nearly 4 decades at the helm, Anna Wintour has officially named her successor. Chloe Mal, the current editor of Vogue.com, will step into the role as editor of American Vogue. At 39, Mal brings a digital-first vision and a celebrated fashion lineage. Wintour isn't stepping away just yet. She'll remain Condé Nast's chief content officer and editorial director at Vogue. And Post Malone has officially entered the fashion game. The Grammy-winning artist debuted his label Austin Post this week at a Paris runway show. Models wore cowboy hats, bandanas, cattleman shirts, cowhide patterns. A horse even strutted the runway. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Nick Zacevic, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, let's take it over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got, again, a very nice start to the day out there. We have an absolutely beautiful Wednesday. Like I said, the majority of our day will be dry, but we've got those strong to severe thunderstorms working in as we head into the evening hours. We're going to break down the timing and details on what you need to know when we come back. Time now is 5:18. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:20 now on this Wednesday morning. So we've got a lot to discuss, but we have some time before we get to what you're seeing here. The isolated tornado risk, again, if you were with us at noon, it had been removed for today, but it has been added back with the update early this morning, about 1 a.m. So we do have that isolated tornado risk for parts of southeast Kansas. The biggest change, honestly, at this point is the lower end threat. The isolated risk stretched all the way down to right about McDonald-Berry County and southern Ottawa County. It has been bumped north a bit, but we still have the level 2 out of 5 risk for hail and wind, with in our far northern counties now these hatch marks indicating that potential for very large hail, 2 inches in diameter or greater, but otherwise large hail damaging wind gusts are the primary concerns with any storms we see. Now it's all been backed up to the north because some changes in the data suggest that we may be on the southern fringe of some stronger or more severe storms that will be off to our north. This is not a significant outbreak. In fact, some of the discussions on this even suggested yesterday that there may only be 1 or 2 thunderstorms that get going, but those 2 storms could intensify and become severe. That's changed a bit as well. So we're looking at first off, a great Wednesday. Let me get into the evening. We're going to have mostly clear to partly cloudy skies for the majority of the day. We're warmer. We'll have that westerly breeze as we go into the 80s. But after about 7 o'clock, the timing has still been pretty consistent. It's after 7 p.m. or right about, we start to get these storms. Now, Future Track, and I read through some different variations of this, it doesn't look very impressive. In our northern counties, we get some scattered storms. Some of those could be strong to severe. Some of them push into southeastern Kansas through about 9, 10 o'clock at night. By 11, you can see there's really not much left. So we're back to kind of that 7 to 11 time frame as well. But there is some thinking that some of the storms, because they're now looking at maybe a few more beyond just one or two, developing to our north, could kind of band together in a bit of a line segment. Now, if that was to happen, then instead of getting these isolated to scattered storms, we could get a line of storms, and that could increase the damaging wind risk and allow it to sink a little further south. So that's what we've got to monitor. And of course, again, the future track data updates frequently. We'll have more information as we get through the morning. We'll have a lot more information by noon and by our 5 o'clock news this evening. But it is something we want to monitor because as of right now, it's not going to be a widespread event. Even if these storms still remain strong, the low grade severe, you can see it's not a widespread event. We'd like to keep it that way, but there's that chance that it may organize a little better. And if it does, then that will of course change what we're expecting late this evening. As we go overnight, some isolated to scattered shower storms continuing, but they're going to begin to drop off in their intensity levels. So just some rumbles of thunder. And we're still looking at the last of the showers wrapping up by sunrise tomorrow morning. After that, Thursday looks fantastic. We spend the day not too bad, upper 70s, near the low 80s. Not going to be a bad Thursday, just a few clouds. Now by Friday, clouds begin to increase. We start getting some scattered showers, a few rumbles of thunder by late morning into the early afternoon. And then we're looking at a few more scattered storms. We're not expecting anything severe with this, but as we head later into the evening toward that rush home, we are looking at some just scattered showers and a few thunderstorms that should begin to clear out overnight Friday into early Saturday. So it's a lot to keep an eye on. Of course, any updates or any changes that take place, we will certainly let you know. We're going to start the day about the mid-60s, mid-70s by 11 o'clock this morning with, again, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. Our highs today ultimately climbing in the low to mid-80s. We'll be back down in the low 60s tonight. Again, a couple of lingering storms pre-sunrise tomorrow. Otherwise not bad, low 80s. Cooler Friday thanks to the clouds and those other storm chances, mid-70s. The weekend doesn't look too bad. We got a few scattered showers, thunderstorms for Sunday into Monday. We still look to warm up a bit next week, going back into the mid to upper 80s with more sunshine by next Thursday and Friday. That's checking your forecast. We're going to send it over to Elise now with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, prostate cancer rates are on the rise in the U.S. A report by the American Cancer Society found rates have been increasing 3% per year between 2014 and 2021 after years of declines. The statistics also show mortality rates for black men are twice as high compared to white men. Prostate cancer is the most common cancers among men. Well, despite the ongoing fentanyl crisis, most pharmacies don't sell opioid addiction treatment medications. Researchers at the University of Southern California found it was only available at 39% of the U.S. pharmacies. The medication, which can ease opioid cravings and withdrawal, is also much less likely to be sold in Black and Latino neighborhoods. The study's authors say lawmakers need to make it easier to access addiction treatments. And a father's exposure to smoking as a child could impact his own children one day. A study published in the British Medical Journal looked at the harms of intergenerational smoking. It found that children whose fathers were exposed to smoking as children were more likely to develop chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD. Researchers say exposure to harmful substances could impact a child's genes, which could be passed down to future generations. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, Eric Argenbright announces his resignation from the Joplin Regional Commission on Homelessness, citing personal reasons.
And while most of our Wednesday is dry, looks great, we do have the chance for thunderstorms later this evening, some of which could be severe. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, Jasper County prepares to unveil a first responders memorial on September 11th.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:28. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Thursday, September the 3rd. Happy Thursday, almost through this first week of September. I mean, the first full week is technically next week, but every day except Sunday is September this week. So close enough. Hasn't been too bad. Temperatures have been pretty decent. We've had some rain out there, and we've got more on the way as we warm up, and we are tracking the potential for strong to severe storms this evening. We're going to start with our live look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Things looking pretty good so far. Same from the MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. Got a great start to the day. They are starting to see the return of some patchy fog out there again, so portions of southeastern Kansas, you can see visibility is reduced generally under about 8 miles in some locations. And then as we head down to northeastern Oklahoma, parts of southwest Missouri around the Grand Lake area, we've got reduced visibilities down to 4 miles in Grove, just over 5 in Anderson. Cassville, you're at 8.5, but you can see, as is tradition, we've got some denser fog into eastern portions of Berry County this morning. And a reminder, so our severe threat this evening. Now this is, again, we've talked in the past, this is day one. Day one updates a few times through the day. The next time it should update is about 8 o'clock this morning. Sometimes it updates early. We'll see what happens. But we have seen the isolated tornado risk. Again, by noon yesterday, it had been removed. It's been placed back for parts of southeastern Kansas. So an isolated tornado is possible, but the greater concern still remains with hail and wind, with some of our northern counties still in those hatch marks, indicating the potential for very large hail, which would be 2 inches in diameter or greater, and those winds 60 miles an hour or greater. The biggest overall change has been that this has been retreated northward. Yesterday, the isolated risk areas stretched down through Ottawa County, parts of northern McDonald, and into parts of Berry County as well. It's been backed up just a bit because some of the data, again, has changed, and I'll be honest with you, it's probably going to change again because there's some conflicting information on exactly how this is going to unfold. Again, today, not bad throughout the majority of this day. Mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. Once we get past 7, the timing hasn't changed, which I guess that's one piece of good news. Timing hasn't changed. Still after 7, we get thunderstorms into our northern counties, some of which could be strong to severe, and then they start pushing southeast, but are expected to be in a weakening state as they push southeast. But some data suggesting that some of those storms up north, instead of remaining isolated, could build into a line. And if that happens, then it could hold on a little longer and bring the damaging wind risk a little further south and east as well. So that's why it's something we do want to watch very closely as we go through the day to see exactly what we're looking at by this evening. All right, 63 Joplin, 62 Pittsburgh. Temperatures across the region this morning. Look at Fort Scott now down to 59 degrees. We've got low mid-60s for just about everybody else. Bentonville a little warmer at 65. Kids out the door this morning about the low 60s, partly cloudy skies. Upper 70s by lunch and recess time. Low 80s when the bus brings them out home today. We'll be into the upper 60s, near 70 by 9, near 80 by noon. Our highs today low to mid-80s, and again a mix of mostly clear to partly cloudy skies with that west wind 5 to 10. And again, it won't be really until after 7 and we start to see those thunderstorm chances increasing. We'll go over all the details on this forecast again, break down the timing and the different scenarios that may play out this evening for you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Thanks. Well, Joplin is looking for a new homelessness director less than 2 months after their current director took on the role. Eric Argenbright notified the Joplin Regional Commission on Homelessness of his intention to resign within 30 days. He cites unanticipated personal reasons as the cause for his departure. The resignation comes 3 weeks after Argenbright sat down with KOAM to discuss what he hoped to do in the role. According to the commission's executive director, Argenbright will work with them during the transition and offer guidance on next steps. The commission intends to fill the position quickly and says they will know more in the coming weeks. The city of Joplin says it is actively collaborating with the developer on the proposed Prospect Village project with a series of public hearings underway. The next public hearing is scheduled for October 20th. Now, these are the latest renderings for the proposed development, which would be near 20th and Rangeline. The multi-use project will feature a 135,000 square foot athletic facility with outdoor turf fields and the ability to host tournaments. The development would also include a major retailer such as a grocery store, a hotel, and an apartment complex with more than 300 units. City officials say the project has the potential to create an enormous economic impact for local businesses and increase tax revenue from out-of-town visitors. The developer estimates if construction can break ground at the end of 2025, it may take about 8 years for all the component projects to be complete. The sports complex would be built first with hopes to open in 2027. The Harvest Foundation presents a check to Carl Junction schools for their support of the upcoming First Responders Memorial in Jasper County. The memorial is set to be unveiled on September 11th at 9 a.m., honoring those who lost their lives while on duty, such as 1993 Carl Junction High School grad Ben Cooper. And the 30th annual art exhibit is open at the Neosho Chamber of Commerce. The art exhibit is inspired by Thomas Hart Benton. All the artwork is from local emerging and professional artists. It's open for viewing September and October. Some of the pieces are available for purchase as well. The number of children and teens committed to the Missouri Division of Youth Services has increased over the last 4 years. Chris Bryant breaks down the numbers.
Anything from not going to school to first-degree murder and everything in between.
For the juvenile system, the number of children committed to the Division of Youth Services has increased from 366 in 2021 to 577 in 2024.
Has raised the age jurisdiction, the age from 16 when we would have to stop working with kids, and now included 17-year-olds.
When it comes to children committed to DYS, recent numbers show 59% had a history of substance abuse and 53% of kids had a history of mental health services.
Every legally sufficient referral that we get, we're going to reach out to that parent, again, if we're not, taking them into custody or things of that nature, and offering help and assistance.
Data from Missouri courts shows the juvenile system in 2024 had 41,568 referrals across the state. Law enforcement issues the most referrals, and Greene County sees an average of 2,000 referrals a year. When it comes to referrals in 2024, most of them were because of an assault, followed by property damage and then stealing.
And we have learned that if you just deal with the kid and consequence that behavior, but don't look at family systems issues, we should not be surprised when we release that kid from probation and 3 months later he's done or she's done something else.
76% of all referrals go through the informal process, and nearly 20% have informal adjustment, meaning no action taken. And just because your child is referred to Juvenile and Family Services doesn't mean your child will end up in detention. And family courts have a way for parents to reach out for help when they don't know what else to do.
We have what's called a parental assistance form, and the parents can just basically refer their own children here.
Division of Youth Services says last year, 138 youth were committed for serious offenses. 324 got committed for lesser crimes, and 31% of all youth who received Division of Youth Services education services were identified as having an educational disability.
And for more information, the Missouri Courts website provides the last 16 years of data in the Missouri Juvenile and Family Division Annual Report. And let's look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Powerball players get another shot at becoming a billionaire tonight. Plus, McDonald's Happy Meals get a K-pop makeover starting today. We'll have the latest. Time now, 5:37. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Well, in Consumer Watch, a federal judge has ruled that Google will not have to sell off its Chrome browser or Android. The landmark decision was part of a major federal antitrust lawsuit brought by the Justice Department, alleging that the tech giant stifled competition by entering into multi-billion-dollar deals to make its search engine the default on smartphones and other devices. The judge said selling off parts of the company would be incredibly messy and highly risky, though he did put some restrictions on how Google conducts its payments, and he ordered the company to share data with qualified competitors. Google has expressed concerns about data sharing and its effects on user privacy. A DOJ lawyer called the ruling a major win for the American people. And tonight, Powerball players have another chance to become a billionaire. The $1.3 billion jackpot is the fifth largest in the game's history, with the cash value of almost $600 million. And BTS fans can also feel like winners at McDonald's. Starting today, the chain's Happy Meals will feature tiny tan figures. The characters are based on members of the popular K-pop group. This week, McDonald's also announces the return of its lower cost extra value menu starting September 8th. And that's a look at Consumer Watch this morning. Let's take it over now to Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, again, we have a pretty nice day. Most of this day is going to be fine. We're going to be warmer. It's going to be sunny. We'll have a few clouds here and there, but then we're tracking that potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms late this evening. And there's some variables in play that could impact what we see or what we don't see in terms of thunderstorms this evening. We're going to break down the full details in your forecast, go over what you need to know and the timeline when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now 5:42.
Well, another big change has been announced in the food industry. Details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. One of the largest food companies in the world is now breaking apart. Kraft Heinz announcing it will once again become two companies. It comes a decade after they joined. One of the companies will include brands such as Heinz Philadelphia Cream Cheese and Kraft Mac and Cheese. The other will include brands like Oscar Mayer, Kraft Singles, and Lunchables. It's reported Kraft Heinz net revenue has fallen every year since 2020. McDonald's is cutting prices on some of its combo meals. Starting next Monday, McDonald's will offer extra value meals, which combine select entrees like a Big Mac or an Egg McMuffin with medium fries or hash browns and a drink. Prices will vary by location, but McDonald's said extra value meals will cost 15% less than ordering each of those items separately. And usually thought of as a Valentine's Day treat, Sweethearts is going all in for Halloween, creating ghosted Sweethearts. The treats are all white hearts with no words, making a statement loud and blank about ghosting, with 84% of Gen Z and millennials reporting they have been ghosted. The company behind them saying, quote, "With Ghosted Sweethearts, we're putting a stake in the heart of Halloween season and poking fun at ghosting, a spooky phenomenon of modern dating." They're available at ghostedsweethearts.com. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or get updates over at agweb.com.
All right, here's Chris with another full look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms as we head into the evening hours. So this is what our threats look like right now. The isolated tornado risk has returned for parts of southeastern Kansas, so an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. But again, the greater concerns are going to be with hail and with damaging wind gusts, with these hatch marks now in our far northern counties indicating the possibility of 2-inch in diameter or larger hail. But otherwise, large hail, damaging winds 60 miles an hour or greater. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the biggest change is that this isolated risk, the lower risk here, stretched down through Ottawa County, northern McDonald, into Barry counties. It's been retreated now north of I-44. And that's because some of the data has changed. But after reading some of the latest updates, we could get some additional changes because there's two possible ways that our weather is going to unfold this evening, okay? So that severe weather outlook is based on what right now looks like the most likely scenario, but there's another one that is being monitored as a potential. That's the fun of severe weather at this time of year. It's a little more muddy, can be a little more complicated than what we get in the spring, where it's a very straightforward situation. So for today, again, most of this day, nice. We're going to be warmer. It's dry. We've got mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. And we get to 7 o'clock. This timing there is still the same as what we've been seeing for the last couple of days. That's the only real thing that hasn't changed, is the timing of this coming into our area after 7. This scenario is suggesting isolated to scattered storms moving into our northern counties between 7 and 8. They could be strong to severe. Some of them could still remain strong to low-grade severe, coming through Chanute, Parsons, back here. They are going into parts of Cherokee, Labette counties, maybe even northern Craig County into Oklahoma. But you see, there's not many of them out there by 11. And after 11, that's it. In terms of the severe weather, a strong storm or two might try and continue south of I-44, not looking likely under this scenario. And the other part that hasn't changed is following the storm chances. With the strong to severe storm chances, we go with some scattered to isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms overnight, and those will be done by sunrise. Now, scenario number 2, which is not showing up on this future track at this time, is that some of these storms to the north could congeal into a line. They could form a line. Yesterday, the discussion suggested there, out of the entire risk area, there may only be 1 or 2 storms. That's changed a bit. We're looking at a few more. So that adds in scenario number 2, where some of those storms could form a bit of a line. If that were to happen, then a transition to more of a damaging wind risk would develop, and it could hold its strength a little further south and east, which could see the return of those lower end severe probabilities back south of I-44. That's scenario number 2. So those are 2 possible ways this could unfold this evening. Right now, the more likely one is what I just showed you, which is why our severe risks have been moved back a little further north. But we want to monitor both potentials out there. Now, once we get past sunrise on Thursday looks fantastic. We go into our Friday, though, we start to become mostly cloudy. Our temperatures are going to drop a bit thanks to the clouds, and we'll start seeing some additional rain chances. Scattered showers, a few thunderstorms possible by late morning and through the afternoon and evening. It's not rain everywhere all at once, but you can see we'll have some scattered storms continuing into the early overnight hours before those begin to clear out. And right now, no severe weather is expected with any of the activity on Friday. It's just this evening we want to keep an eye on. All right, for today, though, through the morning, mid-60s to start, mid-70s by 11 o'clock this morning. A mix of, again, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies out there. As we look down the road, we're going to go again low to mid-80s today, low 80s tomorrow, mid-70s, though, for our Friday, falling back in the low 60s tonight and tomorrow night. That does cool us back a bit. Our weekend looks all right. Could get a few evening showers and storms, a few more scattered showers and storms possible on Monday, hanging on to the mid-70s. Now, once we get done with those rain chances for a bit and see temperatures climbing back up into the mid to upper 80s in the second half of next week. Let's check your forecast. We're going to toss it over to Elise now with sports.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Humboldt football is back this Friday, and the 2025 Cubs have big shoes to fill. The 2024 senior class was the winningest in Humboldt history. Last season, the Cubs were regional champs and started the season 10-0, but Humboldt has plenty of talent returning for 2025, and 11th year head coach Logan Wyrick's expectations remain the same for this year's team.
We lost a solid senior class. They were the winningest class in school history, so that speaks volumes with them. But I think there's a lot of guys that got a lot of playing time last year and over the last couple of years. So we bring a lot back, especially up front. So we're looking to lean on that, our O-line and D-line, and hopefully some guys can kind of grow around them in the skill positions, and we can build on that.
Now, one of the members of last year's senior class was the starting QB, Blake Ellis. Now Mason Sterling will step into the role of field general for the Cubs, but he's no stranger to the Humboldt offense. Last season, as a skill player, he rushed for over 900 yards and racked up more than 300 receiving yards as well.
My first year, I wasn't able to play a whole lot, but the last 2 years especially, I've been in the offense in different positions, and it's good to be in different positions because you get to learn not just your playbook or your spot, but every other spot, and it helps you understand the game a lot more. So I think previous years of experience will help this year for sure.
Well, Sterling is recovering from an ankle injury and won't be ready for Humboldt's season opener against Caney Valley this Friday, but he'll line up under center at some point this season. On Saturday, Missouri Southern football won its first season opener since 2013, and today the Lions get even more good news. Zach Bergman, a senior linebacker from Rogersville, Missouri, is named the MIAA Defensive Athlete of the Week. Bergman registered a career-high 14 tackles and helped the Lion defense in holding Midwestern State to under 100 rushing yards. The honor is the second of Bergman's career. That's a look at sports. We'll be right back.